Our team returns, and we're joined by Godfrey Leggett, Democratic activist. Thanks for joining us, sir.
Pleasure to be here.
Thanks for coming in. The Newt resurgence has begun. Does it mean trouble for the eventual general election as far as Republicans are concerned?
It means trouble for Republicans.
Can Newt move the independents to come around to his way of thinking by November? Can that happen? Will independents join this staunch Republican in the end?
That's a good question. They'd probably more likely join, the other two moderate Republicans in the race. Newt's got a lot of baggage he's carrying along.
He's got more baggage than Elizabeth Taylor took to Rome for the film of Patra.
Really? That much?
So does President Obama, just has never been, vetted.
I want to hear Shane defend Newt Gingrich. Give me your take on Newt.
I don't need to defend Newt. That's his job. All I'm going to say is that we have a batch of potential candidates, just as we did before, just as the Democrats did before. You had your own discussion about your various candidates in the last election as well, where you had two.
Strong candidates.
That's
we heard
exactly
throughout the 90s that personal life does not matter. Personal life does not matter as far as
if I were forced to vote for a Republican candidate, John Huntsman would be my pick. Of course, he's dead last because he's the most rational, reasonable, sane person in the race.
So every Democrat's favorite Republican.
Exactly.
Is Newt the guy that Republicans love and nominate and then lose with in the fall because he's too far to the right, whereas a Mitt Romney could plausibly win the race?
Again, I don't know who Romney's natural constituency is, other than he doesn't appear to be crazy. Here's the thing about Newt. The underlying factor is the only explanation I can give, is that they think he's going to take it to Obama. And there's a faction in the Republican Party, especially on the far right, that doesn't just want to win the election. They want to destroy this president.
Well, it's not. No,
we've talked about it.
And I'll tell you, actually, that's a pretty vicious thing to say. I understand why you may feel that way, but time out. Well, I know, but when I hear a president that steps up there on the podium and actually says that there are people who want union workers to stay home, black folks to stay home, working single mothers to stay home and not vote, and actually says,
and you don't think some of the chicanery going on right now is not?
No, there is not chicanery. And then the second thing, he gave a speech yesterday, the president did. I don't think I've ever heard an American president either so ignorant or just so disdainful of some of the things that he has actually himself been able to actuate and put into place for his own life.
What do you mean?
He despite this idea that somehow the person who has $1 more than you do gained it improperly, unless they happen to be making to Democrat candidates, is what this is all about. It is a massive attack.
A CEO of a major corporation making 235 times as much as an average worker or line worker, okay? And he appoints his own compensation board to award him the money that he gets. You don't think that's wrong?
That is problematic, absolutely.
No, exactly.
But that's not for a president to decide. That's for a marketplace to decide.
Well,
the president is not in charge of the country.
I take my stock option statement and I write no.
Good for you.
Well, my little vote
let me ask you a question. Some of these Texans want to know who we're going to be led by in the fall. What does Mitt Romney need to do to reclaim the polling lead from Newt Gingrich? Is Mitt Romney a rhino? Is he a Republican in name only?
Yeah, I don't think so. Do I have some problems with the way that everybody takes some different positions over time? I have problems with all of these candidates, just as I have problems with the president. I have some things that I like about each of the candidates, just like there's a few things that I actually like about President Obama. What I do is try to take the balance of all of those things, look at who ultimately, if they were to be president, do I think would do the best job. Then I back into who has the best opportunity that could also govern, and who has the best opportunity from a campaign standpoint to win that election and make the argument and go up against these ad hominem attacks that the president puts on a daily basis. I don't know who that is right now.
Romney is not a rhino. He's a kino, conservative in name only. He's against Roe v. Wade. He's for Roe v. Wade. His positions sort of cover the waterfront. Shane, I can't believe you can sit there and say there's not a faction in your party that wants to destroy this president. I've seen so much vitriol directed towards him. I've been to the Tea Party rallies and seen the pictures of Obama. Obama is Hitler. Obama is Stalin.
You've never seen that time out.
There's a faction in your party. I'm not saying
and that is no different. I understand that, but that is, I'll tell you, the faction on the left that through the 8 years of President Bush that had things that were 10 times that, and always had those. We always had those
that Bush
things.
did that were 10 times worse. Yeah, right.
And before Bush, before Bush, they said Bill Clinton was a murderer and a cocaine smuggler and killed Vince Foster.
They had President H.W. Bush. So the idea that President Obama, the left needs to develop the political maturity to understand that President Obama is not immune to the same things that all of our other presidents have had to endure as well. The idea that books and movies were made about the assassination of President G.W. Bush, and that was awarded at the Cannes, Film Festival, and that's something that's just great art. I mean, come on, give me a break.
Let me ask you this:
You're straining it now.
I don't like it, James. I don't like it.
Fires
but it's
some
the way
of the,
that it is.
Well, he moves some of the federal agents involved in all this. He moves them, away from their job, moving U.S. Attorney. Operation Fast and Furious. Hundreds of weapons get into the hands of Mexican drug gangs. They keep showing up. In fact, one weapon showed up as being in use in the killing of an American border agent. We could be seeing these for years. Is this an issue that should be more out front on the front pages than it is right now? I mean,
not every initiative works out as they expect it to. Just like Solyndra, not every investment in some up-and-coming technology works out as you expect it.
I know.
It might have been a boneheaded idea. It might have been executed poorly. We got to deal with the aftermath.
That's fair, and I'm actually, I grant you that. What I will say is this: we do know that there were many that were aware of this program, and one thing that was never going to be public, and there are emails to prove this out. There were policymakers that were going to use this to make a case for increased gun control in this country. And so the idea that I understand, and
I'm not sure that Holder was actually behind this thing or had a lot to do with it.
My biggest complaint with Holder is that I don't think from running the department, once things do begin to come out, he has a responsibility to manage his department appropriately.
Name one new gun control initiative of the Obama administration. He's been very timid. You talk about Obama as a leftist.
No.
Obama is a centrist. He's governing from the middle.
He is. No, he is not. Number one.
Not as far to the right as
he's trying to be.
Should he have stepped up more in Operation Fast and Furious in particular? Should he have stepped up more, and should he have asked his Attorney General to step up more at DOJ? And
heads have rolled. The head of that of the ATF out.
Maybe three folks have been moved away.
Maybe they were the ones
and
who
also,
behind it.
I totally reject this idea that this has not somehow been covered up and not reported on. It's been reported on extensively. When they took Holder before that House panel and grilled him, it led every newscast that night. This story's in the news. We know about it. You've reported on it. It's not like it's been covered up.
Holder knew little about it.
But you're in the journalism world. You know there's a difference in mass and scale on some of these things, and it has certainly not received the mass and scale that these sorts of things normally do.
We got to run. The Russians, new rhetoric, new protest in Russia, very serious protest. People being hurt in the protest. There a massive weekend protest expected. We'll discuss that and a whole lot more with the Tea Party and a whole lot of folks right after this break. Stay with us.